In this video series, we're going to walk through a strategy that almost anyone could implement in order to achieve $1 million net worth in around 10 or 11 years. I previously walked through a little bit slower and lower funding level for this strategy, but this one we're funding a little bit more aggressively, and we'll also compare it to what you'd need to do in the markets and what kind of returns you'd need to have to achieve a similar net worth. Check out this video series in the video description. I'll have a playlist, or up here is a link to it. In today's video, we're going to discuss how a person can be a millionaire in 10 years when starting out with $3,000 a month or $36,000 a year, which is probably a relatively common number that people in the FIRE movement might promote. The financial independence, retire early. People might talk about doing this amount if you're making something like $75,000 or $80,000 a year. This is probably a realistic amount if you're an adherent to the principles of the FIRE movement. It's a large savings rate, but it's something that can be realistic. In this case, we're looking at a 22-year-old. So this is somebody who's probably earning between $75,000 and $100,000 a year, which is viable if you get a good college degree, and you could come out of college, with the ability to make that amount of money. And so that's the scenario that we're going to walk through. But we're also going to just quickly, before we even jump into this scenario, so this scenario, we can see the net worth just between these two asset classes, an index universal life insurance policy, and really we're going to walk through you doing this with cash flowing assets, specifically real estate. You can have other cash flowing assets that you do something with, and you might even be able to get better performance out of things like buying businesses and stuff like that. But in this example, we're just going to walk through with real estate, since that's probably the most straightforward way that most people might get into this. And what you can see is in year 10, we're showing $709,000 in net worth, but then there's a big jump in year 11. So there's a few reasons for that, and we're going to walk through that here momentarily. Before we walk through our example scenario in using index universal life, or IUL, combined with real estate and the F.I.R.E method, we're going to walk through and see what you'd have to do if you were doing what traditional FIRE movement folks adhere to. And there's plenty of people in the FIRE movement who will also do real estate investment. But for those who think that real estate investment is not a good idea and you should just do index funds, in order to simulate what we're going to do in this video, and you have to have a return rate, your return rate, your internal rate of return would have to be 21.5% in some ETF index fund investing strategy, or dividend, like whatever your strategy, you'd have to have a 21.5% annualized return in order to do this same thing at this same savings rate. So, and we're going to actually get into this. The real estate portfolio will cash flow in a way that you're not even out of pocket for this amount, after a few years. So, this is where if you use the concepts of applying some active participation, so the aspects of executing the F.I.R.E method. I have a video on the F.I.R.E method if you're not familiar with it. I'm not going to get too much into the details, but there's the concept of forced appreciation, and that's what allows for this to really skyrocket your net worth if done properly. But if we were going to just say the same savings rate, $3,000 a month, contribute at the beginning of the month, in total $396,000 after 11 years of contributions, we would have to have a 21.5% annualized return in order to have an ending balance of $1,400,000. In this scenario, we are doing this without something that is sort of crazy. At 21%, you're beating out Warren Buffett. If your investment portfolio is actually doing that, an annualized 21% return. I mean, so that's a really good annualized long-term return. It's not impossible. You could do it. I'm not saying you can't, and especially if you do things. I have a video on using an options trading strategy to enhance your returns. It is doable. But in year 11, using this strategy, not accounting for any kind of craziness or like crazy returns in the markets, this strategy will have that $1.4 million of net worth at year 11 if executed properly. So, and this is with considering buying basically one property per year for 8 years. That's what this strategy is. That's what this example is walking through. So in total, you will end up in that 11-year period with a portfolio of 11 properties. Or, in this case, it doesn't have to be 11 individual properties. You could spread out some of these funds, but we're walking through this as if it was 11 properties. So let's jump in. If you made it this far, then you will know that you just need to throw all of your money into Shiba Inu and drop a dog emoji in the comments. I'm just kidding on buying Shiba Inu. You can do that if you want, and who knows whether it's going to go to the moon, but I am not recommending it. Do drop an emoji in the comments though, and I will respond with something special. Check out the video description or top comment for a link to the series playlist. You can also find our playlist with content to help you on your path to financial freedom. This November will be the 10-year anniversary of leaving the Army infantry without a college degree and no real plans. I've learned a lot about how to earn, keep, grow, and protect more of my wealth. This channel is intended to share these lessons learned. If you're interested in unconventional wealth growth strategies and how to multiply your income quickly, then hit that subscribe button to join me on this journey.